Well, good morning, everyone. 27 attendees I can see for the moment, along with our 4 panelists. I, Rishiraj, faculty at the School of Law, welcome you all with my colleagues, Dr. Vinay Sharma, Dr. Nisha, and our outreach colleagues, Rakeshji and Zubairji. So this journey of 3 years comes unexpectedly sometimes and sometimes as a part of the professional career. That while we are having a determination that we are going to have law as our profession, then certainly it is quite easier. But when 3-year program comes, that is presumed that sometimes we might have already come across a little way, as sometimes because age is not the limit, that we have already been a graduate, and that becomes the primary eligibility to even apply for this law. But the question comes, do we need to take this break in our professional journey for 3 years full-time program, or should we not? So let us begin with a small summary of it, that what law is. And even if you presume or choose that law doesn't make a difference in your life, then law doesn't have the same opinion. You may excuse the law, but the law will not excuse you. So I'm sharing my screen. Please acknowledge if you can see it once. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Thank you, sir.
You please need to make it full screen, sir.
Certainly, sir. Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for acknowledging it, sir. So at Mahindra University, I would later tell upon the legacy of Mahindra. It is a legacy which is having a foundation more than 70 years, and it is completely a corporate-backed university. Tech Mahindra is the company under whose aegis this is working. And Anand Mahindra is our chancellor, and Dr. Yajulu Meduri is our vice chancellor. So with this legacy, I'm starting because when we say the word Mahindra, the industry knows the name. But at Mahindra University, we are having a plan that we need to start globally and engaging the leaders with the primary mission that to educate future citizens for and of a better world. Mahindra University is situated in Hyderabad, in Bahadurpalli. But before I go into the details of what Mahindra University and where it is, what it stands for, let us have a small discussion about that. What is the necessity and what is the criteria of law, which we take it in real life. So many times you might have come across, we are already having lots of wars going on internally as well as externally. You might have come across Ukraine and Russia too, that had justice been delivered through pen, and history would not have been written with swords and blood. So generally, jumping to the many times people take law in their hands, but ultimately the law prevails. And still, whether we believe it or not, the last line stands that I'll see you in court and I'll see you, that justice prevails. So the truth or justice may be late in delivery, but ultimately or certainly it prevails for a very long term. Irrespective of which party is winning, that party's rules apply. So sometimes you may call the victory of the mightiest, sometimes you may call otherwise, but whichever it is, the truth prevails. But when we go for more diverse sections for the law, that what law is, so basically we are having only 2 kinds of law in existence which we can comprehend and accommodate. That is a law of nature, like physics, gravitation, chemical reactions you might have come across in junior classes, and man-made law. So typically the degree which we are opting for or we are choosing for is the man-made laws we are discussing about. And question that why law should be necessary is only to seek balance. So you may see the image on the right-hand side that every time there is an imbalance, some kind of tsunami, some kind of great judgment comes from the High Court or Supreme Court, or even from the legislative that need to make balance. So ultimately, it's not the law or the truth or etc. Whether it is a natural law or a man-made law, it's always a balance which prevails. So you may see that irrespective of whichever histories we might be having, different histories, different genders, ethnicity, religion, and etc., even professions, right? But certainly the law looks for the balance and ultimately balance prevails. Yes, Steve. Yes, please come.
No. I think there was some problem with the sound. I think it's okay now. Thank you.
Okay. So ultimately, the balance prevails. And as I said in the beginning, it's not like once you complete law, you become an expert only in legal fields, because today we are standing at the interfaces and interdimensional intra-laws and inter-law capacities, where law is taken as a basic tapestry that it is going to be presented as God or devil, whichever way you take it, right? In all the dimensions which man involves into, from the continental shelf to space laws, taxation, finance, technology, wherever, whatever you can think under the sun or above the sun, the law will be there, right? So I'm not going into extreme details of the universe of law, because a lot of multiverses are involved in that, and underlining the same thing, that not recognizing the law as an option today would certainly be very heavy in future, because whether we like it or not, law doesn't excuse anyone. So starting with the legal part, that University of Mahindra University started some in 2020. We already have this recognition from University Grant Commission as well as from the Bar Council. This is Mahindra Law School building. And as per this today's session, I formally welcome once again on 14th of August, right, on the eve of this Independence Day, just one day away, that two motives we need to look forward when we are pursuing law as a profession, irrespective of our past, whether we are from science, arts, or commerce, that we need to come as a Gyanarthi Pravesham and Sevarthi Prasthanam, because we need to serve the society to bring order and balance. And that is what we need to do. It's not that everybody was going to be a judge and etc. It's a vast universe. You might be just not only a lawyer or an advocate or an judge in some places, you also could be an advisor to the policy making of every company. So I'm just looking for the part where law can come in between. This is the basic structure of the university, which is situated in 100 plus acre campus at Bahadurpally area in Hyderabad. We have no other branches yet. Learning resources and infrastructures, seeing is believing. I welcome you all to visit the campus once. The primary eligibility to apply for this 3 years program, which is full-time, is 60% in your graduation degree or equivalent grade in that. And that need to be followed by an interview, and shortlisted candidates would be there, because it is not just putting the money and time here. We need to look into whether you have the metal or the fire within you that you should be a lawyer or could be a lawyer. The core domains which you are going to come across are mostly in social sciences, management, law, but of course technology is also there, because whether you like it or not, we are running this session only with the help of technology. So it's a vast universe you'll come across if you are pursuing the law for the first time, right? But I do not accept that you have not come across law in real life. But let me underline at this point that this is not going to be like a glamorous movie kind of suits which you might have come across in the web series. It is going to be much challenging and, of course, demanding from your side, that what dedication you are putting into. And classroom to courtroom teaching, that would be our USP, through conferences, client negotiation, English lab or legal English, interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary studies, which we have come across in the second and third year. And we also have that incubation entrepreneurial centers also, along with the legal aid centers. This puts you and gives you a 360-degree opportunity to develop your potential, that which one you would be choosing in your final year and final semesters. And options, generally it come across that we need to be all the time associated with law. Let me tell you, when you join law, it is not just the law degree you are getting or your designation as a lawyer. It goes a very long way throughout your life. It is knowing the system and maintaining the balance. That is what you need to stand for, first for you and then for the society. So this was a session, and I would like to cross this session now to my colleagues. Dr. Vinay Sharma is one of my very cherished and distinguished colleagues in School of Law, and Dr. Nisha is also occupying the similar spaces, right? They are already handling the B.L.L.B and B.B.L.L.B program. Besides, I would like to begin with Dr. Nisha to put on some light that how sociology would be connected with the legal interfaces. Over to you, Dr. Nisha.
Thank you, Professor Rishi, for that generous introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Nisha Mathew. I teach social sciences on the law program at the School of Law in Mahindra University. I just want to add a couple of things to what Professor Rishi just walked you through. You know, we are a unique law program in many sense, in many ways, because we just don't introduce you to law textbooks. You're not coming to the School of Law, Mahindra University, just to go through the law textbooks. Rishi just showed you a representation, a pictorial representation of what facilities we have. So I'm going to just talk to you about how we link teaching in classroom with the facilities that we have, how we've envisioned these things to make you better lawyers so that you go out into a very competitive kind of space. Remember when some of you might have lawyers in the family, some of you might have fathers, mothers, uncles, grandfathers who are lawyers, and perhaps that's the reason why you also want to be a lawyer. But many of you might not have any background in law, in the family. So when an earlier generation of lawyers were walking into the profession, the scene was very different. It was not that competitive. You could be a judge, you could be a lawyer, you could be, the advisor for a legal firm. But today, the options are plenty. Every sector, every domain in the economy needs lawyers, okay? Or someone who's an expert in law. You need not even practice law, but you need some sense of where the law stands with respect to what you do, how you place your firm or your institution vis-a-vis the state. Okay, so in order to give you an overview of all those things, we've envisioned a program taking into account what the UGC and the Bar Council of India have prescribed and how we, want you to go out as. So we add an edge to the program. And how we do this is, especially with social sciences, there's a lot of emphasis in the School of Law on the social sciences bit. And by social sciences, I mean political science, history, sociology. Okay. So what we do is we teach you to be keen observers of society because, after your L.L.B program, you are going to go out into the world and see how you can apply these laws that you've learned while you're at the school, right? So you need to be keen observers of society. You need to keep track of all the events and developments that are happening around you. And you need to evolve a perspective on these things, a position on these things. And we help you get there through lectures. We also give you some hands-on training. So the legal aid clinic, for example, when you go into a legal aid clinic, that is one of the opportunities for you to sort of transfer what you've learned in the school to people who have no idea of what law is, but need to encounter the law to get some of their problems solved. So you will be, offering them, you'll be sort of giving them an insight into how to use law, where to go to for help when they have a legal case. Okay, so that is one thing that you will do. We also take you to courts, so you can observe a court in session. So one of the things we focus on is law on paper versus law in practice. Okay, there are so many laws that we've inherited. Over the years, we have the Indian Penal Code and all of those things. So they're all laws written on paper. But when you take these laws to a courtroom, how are these laws played out? Because there are, the judge might be a judge, the lawyer might be a lawyer, very venerated figures or very honorable positions. But at the end of the day, they're also human beings, right? They also come with their own prejudices. There are power relations animating the relationship between a judge and a lawyer, etc. Okay, so you will see how these equations, these social equations, these cultural equations, sometimes even gender equations. Sometimes the judge can be a woman and the lawyer can be a very powerful man, okay, much senior person perhaps. how all these things play out in the court. So we will give you an exposure to that. You will not just be carrying your law degree and walking out of Mahindra. I promise you. You come here, you get an overview of how the legal world is, the universe of lawyers and judges is. Okay, that is one of the things. And we also teach you that no law is absolute. Okay, not even the dictum "do not kill," because just think about it. Okay, you're going to war with maybe China or Pakistan or whoever. If you tell your soldier, I mean, the law says "do not kill," what will happen to us? Just think about it. So you need to contextualize law, right? We teach you how to do that. We teach you how to, weigh options, weigh your priorities, so that you can apply the right law in the right place. Okay, lawyering is also a lot about discerning power. So it's the time for you to discover how much you can push your knowledge. Okay, push the limits of your knowledge, and where you have to step back. Right. I think that is more or less what it is. So we will teach you. I mean, we have two dimensions to the program. One is yes, I see a question. Can I just finish this point and you can ask me the question? Is that okay? I don't see the chat box. Okay.
Professors, we'll take the questions at the end, please.
Okay, all right. So we'll take the questions at the end. Right. So we focus on two aspects, basically. One is the lecture and the tutorial bit, where you will have a teacher or professor coming to your classroom and giving you the lecture, delivering the lecture, asking you to read the material. We also have in-house activities and tutorials where, you take the first step towards application of the laws that you're taught. Okay. Then is the program, or then is the dimension where we take you out of the school. We let you out in the society, of course, on a programmed, basis. And then we give you exposure to the world outside, so that when you leave the university, you're not left hanging in thin air. Okay, you are handheld and taken towards your goals. Okay? So that is what we mostly focus on. I think I will stop here because it's a Sunday. I shouldn't keep you for long. Let me hand over to my esteemed colleague, Professor Vinay Sharma. Thank you. We'll take the questions at the end.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for speaking. Just give me one moment, please. Yeah. Thank you very much, ma'am, for speaking, and then also to Dr. Rishi for giving the introduction to the law program. I'm Dr. Vinay Sharma, the Assistant Professor at the School of Law at Mahindra University. As my colleagues just now spoke to you, they just said that, when you do law, there should be something in which we have a practical correlation of law and its impact and its features or whatever is there on society. Because ultimately, whenever we go through with a law program, there are two things that are absolutely required. One is that why do we need a law? That's the first question that I always ask anyone. Why do we need a law? We need a law, somebody said, so that society can be regulated. Then they said that, sir, society is already regulated. Everybody knows what his or her role is there in society. So why do we need a law? Then they said that, laws are made so that, some people who may break the law would also become a part of it. Ladies and gentlemen, when laws are generally made in the world or any country or in India, there are two things that we need to keep in mind. First is the laws come from society itself. And in some cases, law comes through customs. Sometimes laws come due to usage by people. Sometimes law comes into existence because somebody breaks it. So in today's world, the most important facet is that we have now seen that the world has grown beyond boundaries. Previously, when laws used to be made, if I could just look at what my colleague said before, was that when law was there before, it used to be only truncated to a certain extent that it could be to that particular country or that particular state or that particular area. But as we have crossed boundaries on the internet and we have moved through the concept of globalization now, we have also seen that there are need for new category of lawyers. When I started my career first, they had told me, what are you going to do? I had told them, look, you can do only three things, they told me. Either you can be a civil lawyer, or you can be a criminal lawyer, or the best part of it is you could become a lawyer on divorce and matrimony cases. Then I told them, is this the only thing that is there? They said that, look, this is the only thing that is there about it. If you want to get into it, this is what law is going to be all about. At that time, the internet was booming, ladies and gentlemen, and it was an area in which really in India, there were no laws. I was very much interested in this concept called cyber law. And I used to be always concerned about it that, when something is posted on the internet and it turns out to be offensive to someone, then what happens? Then I went to one of my faculty members and then I asked him, sir, what shall we do? There is something called cyber law. So he said, yes, Vinay, there is a cyber law. But the law that is there, I don't think is enough to look after the crimes and cases that are coming up with regard to it. Then I started doing some research on it. And then I also started getting into this idea that, then I found out that, in India, there has been a dearth of cyber lawyers. And that was one of the areas in which I started to do some work. There were two areas in which I found that India had lesser number of people who could be construed to be real-time lawyers in that particular area or sphere. The first one was cyber law and the second one was taxation. In these two areas, I could find that there was a dearth of lawyers that were there. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to give a small presentation on the concept of cyber law, and I would like to make it interactive with you so that if a question is asked, anybody can just unmute and just let me know what it is all about. Just give me a moment to just share my screen, please. Is my screen visible, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to make it full screen, but it is not coming up. Okay. All right. I think everybody would see these number games anywhere that you go, right? So the point here is that today I would like to speak a little bit on these two things, which are very important today for an individual who would like to be a future lawyer. The main topic that I have chosen today is going to be on cyber crimes and cyber laws, right? Ladies and gentlemen, you know very well that today two things have become very important. One is gadgets and the second one are apps, right? So gadgets and apps have now become the quintessential part of life. Without a gadget being there, we feel that, we don't have anything at all. Like getting up in the morning and then, the first thing that we generally do is that we get up from our sleep and then we just walk up to the best gadget in town, that is a mobile. And what we do is we just take the mobile out and then we switch on the mobile. That is, it's already switched on all through the night. But the thing is, we just switch it on to just have a look at, who's called me. And most importantly for me is who sent me a good morning message this morning. that, whether my friend has forgotten to send me a good morning message, or somebody would have said that, he's forgotten my birthday for today, or he's forgotten that, it is some good day in our life. The reason being that without these gadgets, we are unable to function. And the apps that we have now, the number of apps that we have now, that in the year, I'll really tell you, in the year 2001, we had 12 apps, please. And today, I can't even count the number of apps which are there. The reason being that, these apps have now become the most important part of our life. Now, if you look at it in a real way, I would like to just show you something, please. If you can just have a look. And then a small question to you is that, I think my screen is still visible to all of you, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to look at all these things which are there in front of you, please. Okay. And look at the question which has been put below. Which of them is a cyber threat according to you? If anybody could unmute, please.
Professor, we're in a webinar mode, so they can't unmute. They can type the answer in the chat window.
Yeah, if they can, yeah, that will be, I'm sorry. If anybody could type it in the chat box, please. According to you, which of them is a cyber threat here? Or I should, now let me ask you that. Which of them is a cyber threat? That will be great. Instead of saying which of them is not a cyber threat. Let me check the chat box, please, once. I'm sorry. I think mobile, okay. Mobile is a cyber threat. All the others are not. All the others are not. Mobile. Harshvardhan also said it's a mobile. Anyone else? I think my screen is frozen, please. Yeah, I think the RFID chip, Sai Dhanishka said. Anyone else? Pen drive, computer. Now everything is coming up, please. Everything is coming up, right? Ladies and gentlemen, if you can see it, that if you can ask me, everything is a cyber threat. Rishi sir, is my screen frozen? That is there. I think so. It's frozen to. Just give me one moment.
It's moving for me, sir.
Okay. Has it gone back to the previous one, sir? Okay. I'll just try to make it a little bit simple. I think I'm just going through with the answers, please. Social media apps and RFID chip. Now, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that if you're taking my previous one, you can just make it very clear that even the refrigerator that you find in your in the cyber threat which was there, even your television is also a cyber threat, please. Even your television is a cyber threat. Many of the times people say, sir, how is my television or a refrigerator a cyber threat? Ladies and gentlemen, I do remember that somewhere in the 1990s, there was the first smart refrigerator which was brought out in the United States. And one of the persons that was there went on and then he filed a case against the refrigeration company saying that his refrigerator was spying on him. So the question came that how does the refrigerator spy on you? This case went before court and the court said that it cannot be possible that a device like a refrigerator would spy on you. Then slowly what happened was that as the days went ahead, we also brought in this new concept of the social media apps which were already there, and also the new apps like even a smart television. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes people watch the Netflix and others. And then what happens is that once you start watching particular movies, then Netflix will show you, after some days, it will show you one small thing based on your preferences. based on your preferences, we have identified these movies for you. Now, the thing is that how does your preference get noted in Netflix? Have they asked you that, can we take the data that you are doing on your, that is, you're browsing through Netflix and they can use that particular data? Or if you're doing it on Amazon, it will say, based upon your preferences, we have identified this. You can look at this movie, you can look at this documentary, you can look at this. Why I'm putting all this in front of you is that please understand, as the days are going by, and if you have seen my previous slide, all the things which are there are a cyber threat, except for the frying pan. All of them are a cyber threat, except for the frying pan. The frying pan is the only one presently which is not a cyber threat to us. All the other things that I have mentioned are all cyber threats. Even to tell you today, we are happy with the new cars which are coming into the market, please, with Tesla coming out with its driverless car, and people getting into vehicles which have now become very, very, tech within it. There's so much of technology. But do you know that even your cars know where you go, where you come, and so on? You know very well that even Google tracks you. That, it will tell you your timeline for the month of July was this. That means you went to all these places. Your timeline for the month of August is going to be this. Like tomorrow, if you come to Mahindra University and you visit Mahindra University and you're going back, sometimes you will get on your app, it will say, how was Mahindra? You go to Google, you don't know where Mahindra University is, and then you take the directions and come to Mahindra. When you come to Mahindra University, you visit it and then you go back. While going back, or after a day or two, it will ask you, how was Mahindra University? How does it know? Because you will say that, the data, what you have given it there just for help is now becoming a problem for you. That's why I remember that, there used to be a Will Smith movie called The Enemy of the State. Enemy of the State was a movie in which it shows how the government can get into the life of a person and then access the data of that particular person on his computer systems, on anything that he uses, starting from a smartwatch to a smart TV to any other thing that is there. And that's why in that movie, Gene Hackman, one of the actors along with Will Smith, teaches him, look, you can believe a human being, but you cannot believe a gadget. Because a gadget shares information wherever it goes, however it goes, and what it does. And that is where today we need to look at the data which we are spreading it out into the universe by using apps, by using mobile gadgets, by using anything that is there, how data is being given out. And the question that is being asked today is this data that is being given out, ladies and gentlemen, safe? That is why many of them in the law profession today are now worried about data being sold and how data is to be looked into. You might be seeing my picture now where you have a WhatsApp which is there. The Bombay High Court in one of its judgments, there was one guy who was not paying his EMIs on time. And every time he was asked, he would say that, he did not receive the mail for the EMI, or there was an issue and other things, it went into spam and other things, please. Then what happened? The company which had given him the loan sent him a message by WhatsApp saying that, your EMI is due. He looked at the EMI, he opened the WhatsApp and looked at the message. And then when the people came back to him from the company, he didn't pay the installment. And the people from the company came back to him, ladies and gentlemen, then he said, I didn't receive anything at all. So they said, we sent it by WhatsApp. Then what he said, WhatsApp is not a medium at all because it's a social media, app which is generally being used. The people who had given the loan to him went to the court. The court said that even if a message is sent by, that's a Bombay High Court said, even if a message is sent by WhatsApp to that particular individual that is there, and that individual opens that particular thing, then it is construed that the message has been given and that individual is responsible to pay the EMI. So next it could be that, there could be an app, any social media app, and that social media app will give you a message that you have to pay your EMI, or you have to pay a loan, or you have to pay your electricity bill, and so on. And that data comes to you, and that is construed to be by the law as an acceptable form of delivering data to someone. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you as the citizens of India and the world, as a part of society, to sit up and start taking notice. Is that the laws that are made in various other countries of the world and also in India are still not sufficient to look after this particular thing. In India, we still have the Information Technology Act of 2000, which was amended in the year 2008. Subsequently, when privacy laws, when people started feeling that their privacy, like this just now, as I told you, was getting threatened, then they requested the government to bring out a new law. And the government went on to bring in the Personal Data Protection Bill of 2019. Now, I think you're all very good at watching the newspapers and other things. You know that just about 4 to 5 days back, the government has taken back the total bill of the Personal Data Protection Bill. Now, a bill was presented to Parliament. The lawmakers who are there did not like the content of that particular bill. I'm telling basically with regard to clause 35, clause 13, and clause 18. I don't want you to learn this, but I'm just telling you. The main sticking points were that there were 99 sections which were given in the Personal Data Protection Bill of 2019. The lawmakers did not like the bill, and they said that it should be referred to a parliamentary committee. The parliamentary committee said, yes, we'll look into it. They looked into it so very well that 81 amendments were proposed. 81 amendments means 81 changes to the 99 sections were proposed. Out of the 99 sections, if 81 sections are to be amended, ladies and gentlemen, I need to think for a moment. Out of 99, 81 are being amended. So the government said, does this law serve its purpose? And they said, there are new things which have now come into the market, and these new things that are there must be looked into. And what they did was they said, let us now change the law and let us bring out another comprehensive law or legislation which could look into new aspects of law. I conclude with this particular facet by asking you, is that, are you safe? People said, yes, I'm safe. Then I asked them, is your data safe? Then people told me, let me think. Then I asked them, your Aadhaar, there is a case of the Puttaswamy judgment that they call it on Aadhaar. Then they said, is your data that is there on Aadhaar safe? The government had said that Aadhaar data was safe. But that about 1.5 years back or 2 years back, the Aadhaar website was hacked and the data of nearly about 30 crore people was shared with others by the time the government could shut it down. One day, sir, Air India, which was there at that time under the government, was hacked. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to just sit and think for a moment. And I would like to conclude with it. It is not that India only faces this problem of cyber threats, cyber crimes, and data being used by people left, right, and center, where people suddenly call you one day and they say, sir, would you like to take a personal loan? I don't even know who the guy is. I didn't give my data to him. How does he know my number? We never ask the question why. Because in India, we have this, we have a chalta hai attitude. Oh, it goes on, let it be there, not a problem. Then we'll block that particular number, but we will never report that particular number that, they are troubling you and other things that are there. I keep getting calls during my class. Sir, one day I got a message saying that I had won a lottery of 4 crores. I stay in the state of Telangana where lotteries are banned. From where did I win it? And some of them, please, I'm really telling you, they take up that lottery message and they contact them, and then they are defrauded of their particular amount. Why I'm putting all this in front of you is, please don't think that India is the only country which is facing this problem. I'm sorry, my PPTs are not moving, but I showed you one in the United States. In the United States, ladies and gentlemen, there was an attack on an oil pipeline by hackers from Ukraine. It is called the Colonial Pipeline, which runs for 540 kilometers in the United States. And what happened was ransomware that means these people hacked into the website of Colonial Pipeline and shut down the pipeline, please. See, in India, pipelines are generally opened by people. A drinking water pipeline and others. But in the United States, the pipelines are opened through the computer systems. And then you'll believe me or not, they asked for ransom. Think about it. Generally, if a person is kidnapped, then you ask for ransom. Just to open the Colonial Pipeline, the people had come from the state of Ukraine. They had asked for this particular pipeline. They had hacked into it. Then what happened was that the United States government first said they refused to pay the ransomware. They said, we are not going to pay it. They tried from their ethical hackers to open this pipeline, but it was not possible. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the most developed state of the world, United States, had to pay the ransomware to the hackers. Then they opened it, and President Joe Biden was so livid with it that he said, we should now have the best cybersecurity law in the world so that people do not put a country at ransom by doing such things. Please think about it. People say the greatest war that is won is the one that is won without a shot being fired. Cyber threats today are the biggest thing in the world in which you can see that individuals get affected because of it. And I want to reiterate that there is a dearth of cyber lawyers in India, and people still do not know where to go when a cyber threat comes up, what to do. And the laws that are presently there in most countries of the world are not equivalent to it. Do you know, as I speak to you, that 85 countries of the world do not have a cyber law with them? They do not have a cyber law. They are still being siphoned off with their money in banks, financial institutions, and others. When you are thinking of a program in which you have LL.B, I would like you to also think about the areas in which you can do a lot of work, and once you come out after 3 years, you can see that the market is yours. The areas which I have identified, because the laws and the things still have to be done. One of them is cyber laws. One of them is taxation. The third one is intellectual property laws. Intellectual property laws also are a big threat presently, and there are no, experts on that particular count. And nowadays, you might have seen that there is a new form of laws which are coming in that is called forensic laws. When I say forensics, people think of murder. No, I talk about accounting forensics. I talk about cyber forensics. I talk about artificial intelligence forensics. I talk about stock market forensics, wherein you can look at all these aspects. And I'm really telling you, we have a dearth of lawyers in this particular areas. And To tell you the truth, the parent company which is there of Tech Mahindra, in which I am a part of it through Mahindra University, is trying its best by also trying to bring in the best cybersecurity that is there. They do a lot of work on cybersecurity, and they've been requesting the government to also make laws on cybersecurity. So when you sit down and then you start looking at an app or any such thing, ladies and gentlemen, next time, please remember that you need to question yourself. Are the laws there in India? If something happens, to look into it. That's why Google will also always tell you, don't click on something. Banks tell you, don't click on it. But still, we sometimes I just don't understand this, because in privacy laws that come, first they say you bring in an app. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen, I conclude. When you download an app, it will say, we would like to look at your contacts. Give us permission. We give permission to contacts. Then we give permission to photographs. Then we give permission to messages. We never ask the question why. The reason is we do not have a proper law. So tomorrow, when you would like to become the next lawyer of India, please remember one thing is that you always need to have an analytical view of law. The need to question, the need to analyze, and the need to bring forth something which would help the society at large. And for that reason, at Mahindra University, we ask the students to be well versed in all these three aspects, because the laws which are there are always dynamic. Laws are never static. If laws were static, then we do not need to do it. But when laws are dynamic in a country like India and in the world, it is always better for us as the citizens of any country to learn the law properly. I thank you very much for giving me an opportunity here, and also being able to sit and listen through with this particular short program, though it was quite long from my point of view. But thanks a lot to everyone for being here. Thank you, and I would like to hand over it back to my colleague, Dr. Rishi. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Vinay. Now we are open for any kind of questions anybody would like to put in. And I would like to request my colleagues to chip in anywhere, whichever question you would like to put into. I hope we already had one question from Harshvardhan. Zubair sir, are you there? This question asks about that, specifically pointed to Nisha ma'am, and it says that about expressing locally, do we have anything related to NGOs? Nisha ma'am, would you like to answer that?
Yes, you do have internship work that you undertake with NGOs, Harshvardhan. In the first year, we mostly encourage you to go and work with NGOs. I mean, you are free to choose your law firms if you prefer, but we also want to give you like a first-hand exposure of the kind of work that NGOs do. So definitely, we will put you in touch with NGOs, and based on the kind of issues that you want to work on, and help you in that regard. So no worries on that front. Okay.
Dr. Vinay, would you like to add something to it?
Yes, sir. See, we are in touch with some of the NGOs that are there, and to just let you know that, even our first year students who are presently there in the BBA LL.B program have gone through to some of the NGOs which are presently there in the city of Hyderabad. There is one of our students who has gone to an NGO in which, you have, they wanted to learn from this particular NGO on consumer law. So they have gone to an NGO where the NGO provides free, absolutely free consulting, and also they represent them in the court. They represent them in the court, and they provide them with free access to people who cannot even pay that particular amount on the consumer in a consumer court. So our students have approached them, and we have also had some tie-ups with child foundations which are there, and also with foundations which are related to consumer protection and also with other civil laws. Thank you.
All right. We are still open for any questions anybody would like to put into. So I welcome any participant or attendees to put up any question you want in relation to this 3-year program. I would like to just underline to everyone that this decision which you are making, it might be a break to your regular careers because somebody might be in already a profession. But the decision which you make today shall be deciding a course of your history, your future for the next 50 years. And in that line, I would like to see into that there are no further questions. So before we meet again at Mahindra face-to-face in campus, I would urge all of you to keep your documents, keep your queries all ready, because our outreach team with Zubair Khan sir and Rakesh ji would certainly be in consistent touch with you.
Yeah, Rishi sir, you said rightly, we are there and we are the single point of contact for their any kind of queries. And they can write down my number also, whatever the attendees are there. So this is my official number, 7306 799 802. I repeat.
Zubair sir, you may put that into the chat box. And in the meantime, we have 2 more doubts. Nuba Ishrat is putting up, after LL.B, if we apply for any job, then how we can get experience on particular job. The house is open for anybody to pitch into any kind of questions. In the meantime, I'm replying to Nuba. Nuba, your profession with law starts with a little bit of your history to which particular graduation degree you are coming from. Let's say you are coming from a BTech or science degree or a management degree or maybe a BA degree, right? So your future would also be dependent upon your previous history, that what kind of background you have. Because your job would certainly seek and ask you that what was your past? How did you choose law when you're already having this particular degree in your graduation? At that point of time, you need to make a choice on the basis of your preference in the final semesters and the final year, that which particular training or internship you are going through. And there's a vast universe you can go for. So can you be more specific in your background or choice of subjects you are taking up, so that I can more elaborate on that? There's another question from Dimple, which says, is your university approved by UGC and by the Bar Council? Yes, indeed, it is. I have also shown you the documents in which 20th of May was the date and year where UGC approved us. You can even find that on the site itself. Pallavi has another question. I'm a postgraduate from Delhi and looking forward for LL.B. What is the further procedure for admission? I believe Zubair sir would be better to answer that.
Well, so Pallavi, first of all, you need to apply. So application will be live next week online. You can apply on our website, or you can connect to me. Just I ping my email address and WhatsApp number both. I'll send you one PDF. You can fill up that application. Then we'll upload it, and after that, there will be a panel interview. And after the panel interview, if you get selected, then we'll send you admission offer letter, and from there you continue to join our college, university.
All right.
So that's the process of admission.
Thank you, Zubair sir. There is another explanation from Nuba. Thank you for echoing once again, Nuba. She's doing her LL.B right now and background in humanities. This is a little bit perplexing for me. If you are doing your LL.B right now, then this would be another addition to that. Nuba, can you specify that you are already engaged in LL.B program already? I didn't get the question correctly. I can understand this, that you are having background in humanities, but if you are pursuing LL.B right now, then this is another overdose of that, because this program is post-graduation program. And of course, the degree which you get is, of course, a bachelor degree in law. Anyway, I'm just keeping my options open. That you have a background in humanities, then certainly law would be one of the best choice you can make on as a profession. The reason behind that humanities is mostly related with society, and it is the society which makes the law. So irrespective whichever firm or organization or society you might be working in, right from then a small NGO or sole proprietorship to a corporate level, everywhere the law shall be used. And you need to find your interest more diversified so you can find your chosen spot and you can pitch into. Nuba is an LL.B third year student, sir. Zubair, sir, I presume that this question is a little bit perplexing for me because she's already LL.B third year student. So what do I need to reply to her?
So if she's already third year LL.B student, so let her complete her LL.B and next year she can come to us for LLM if we start LLM next year.
That is a possibility,
Yeah.
Nuba, that you finish your LL.B this year and you can join in Mahindra for the coming year when we are starting with LLM as well as BTech L.L.B program. There's another question from Kurva Sri Dhanishka. Sir, for 5-year law program BBA LL.B, can I be given a provisional degree for BBA after 3 years in Mahindra? Well, this is a little bit twisted question because when we go for 3-year program, then certainly it's an LL.B, which is mostly coming after your graduation. But the point is, when it is going for 5-year program, you get 2 degrees already, right? That is one BBA and the second one is LL.B. That is why it is an integrated program. I would say that Rakeshji would like to say something in between.
Yes, Professor. So this is being a 5-year integrated program. So after 3 years, students will not have an option to get an BA or a BBA degree individually. So they'll have to complete the 5 years and they'll get an integrated degree of BA LL.B and BBA LL.B respectively.
Certainly. You need to understand, Danishka, that this is a 5-year program, which is meant for integrated degrees. That is, one is BBA, another is LL.B. So it's not separate that first 3 years you finish your BBA and then next 2 years you finish your LL.B. It is an integrated program. So all the courses, all the syllabi and the subjects and domains of BBA and LL.B go along and they go together each year. I'm still open for any further questions from your end. All right. Thank you, Danishka. I hope this satisfied your query. I still welcome anyone who would like to put up to any questions in relation to 3-year LL.B program full-time at Mahindra. All right, so I presume there are no further queries, and formally we come to the end of the session. Looking forward that we meet all our prospective participants in person at the Mahindra campus, and I would like to pass on the thanks to Rakeshji now.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. Thank you everyone for joining in and doing the session for us today. Thank you, audience. As we have put out the contact details in the chat window, if you have any queries, please reach out to us on the email ID and phone number given. And the application forms for the LL.B program is going to be live next week. So we request all the interested aspirants to go log on to the website and submit your application. And then subsequently, all the eligible candidates will be called in for a virtual interview. So thank you once again. Looking forward to seeing many of you on campus.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome to Mahindra.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Rakesh. Thanks, Prof.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.